What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Check this out. We got a Facebook Marketplace freebie. Now on this one here, this is a 2015 Polaris Sportsman 570 EFI. You guys saw me do a motor build on a 2014. Now this one was a company's, and basically they said that his employees said it broke, the motor blew up, and they parked it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through and actually see if this thing's blown up. Now I did just install a brand new battery into it, and I did change the ignition out because I had no key. So let's see if this thing's actually got power. Fuel pump's priming. Looks like neutral light, check engine lights there, but of course it's not turning. Let's check the throttle, see if we got some, that throttle's stuck, that's for sure. I don't know why the camera just shut off. Hear the IEC motor kicking back, so we know that's a big problem there. Let's go ahead and check the oil while we're sitting here before we even try to crank this thing over. Of course, we're not going to crank it over with that throttle sticking. It might be stuck closed. Who knows what's going on with that? So let's get in here, check oil level. Oil looks good. Oil's actually pretty darn clean, so that's a positive. That's a rarity. Now this thing has sat for quite a few years outside. That's why it's all ruined like this and parts are missing. This thing sat outside. Went and bought, a customer of mine went and bought another unit, and he said, do you want this one too for free? He said, sure. So now it's here, and we're gonna see what we can do to make this thing run and find out what's wrong with it. If it's too far gone, I don't think he's gonna fix it because the bodywork's kind of tore up and everything, but let's go ahead and tear into this carburetor on this thing, or the throttle body on this, and see why that throttle's sticking. Who knows what it could be. So I'm gonna yank this seat off, which is pretty simple to do. And then I think I'm gonna lower this back down a little bit so you guys have a better view, if I can get that to stay up there. So I'm gonna lower the lift back down, and we'll check the airbox to see if there's any critters living inside that. And then we'll go ahead and try to turn this thing sideways and see if it's just frozen up from sitting, or if there was water in here, or what's going on. We'll turn the throttle body sideways and check that. All right, so let's get this airbox top off. Let's check for any critters down in this bad boy, which I probably have a feeling something's been living there, or still living there, if that throttle body's jammed up like it is. Any mesises? No, but it's full of water. Completely full of water. I am so glad I did not try to turn this thing over. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's full of water. That's not gas. That's actually water. So let's go ahead and pull out the airbox. We need a flathead, 30 torques to 35, and then we'll disconnect the intake tube here for the crankcase breather, and we'll pour this out. Let me grab those tools real quick. That's pretty funny. So let's go ahead and, what did I grab? I grabbed the 30, needs to be a 27. All right, get those two, grab my bowl. There we go. Flathead screwdriver. That explains why the throttle's seized. That is for sure. Good part is, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be hard to get out or off. Now, this hose is destroyed. May have to get a new little piece that goes on the end. Let's see if we can't get this boot off the intake here. It's a little stuck. All There we go. Look at that, completely full of water, all water. So I'm gonna pour this outside real quick. I'm actually gonna let this sit in my outside sink because it is just full of water and everything else. That's a bummer because this throttle body, oh my gosh, it is atrocious looking. I mean, it is atrocious. So let's go ahead and pull this throttle body out. See if there's some way we can save this, super soak it in my sonic cleaner out here. But boy, oh boy, look at that. I'll have to bring you guys closer. My screen, I figured out why my screen, in my other video, I was wondering why it was blurry. It's actually because it's got a little condensation on the front screen inside. That is gonna be a 25 or a 15. So let's unhook the TPS, the IEC motor. They always have to have that taped up with that on there. Let me grab a blade here real quick. So if we can get this clean, we'll take a look. I'll take a look in the intake to make sure nothing crazy is going on in there. I'm afraid it might be. Oh, I thought I broke something for a second. Whew. There we go, got that. Now we need to grab probably a 20 or a 15. Let's see, there's a 25. Nope, and 20. So that's gonna be a 20. Let me grab an adapter. Whoop, let me grab an adapter for that over here off of my lift. And then we'll be able to get that throttle cable out, I hope. Here's the bad part. TPS. I'll have to look up how to set that on this model because I usually don't mess with the TPS on Polaris because I don't have the diag tool to set it back to 0. There may be a ohm reading you can do on it. I am honestly not sure. I've replaced the IEC motors in the past, but boy, that thing's pretty gnarly looking. Let's see if I can't get this. Let's go ahead and take the fuel injection wire off. And then we got the map sensor connector. It's disconnected, just gotta get it to come off. There we go. That way we can get these wires out of the way. I can move this throttle body around a little bit better. But it's definitely, that's definitely solid. So let's see if I can't push on that butterfly a little bit. There we go. Butterfly moved. So, and it's stuck. I can mark, I'm gonna mark, yeah, what I'm gonna do, there's a little indention right here. I'm gonna mark this on the TPS when I disassemble this. I'm gonna mark that with my center punch right here. That way I know to line those marks back up. Again, I'll have to look in my manual I have from emanualsonline.com. Don't forget to use discount code limitless22, limitless power 22 at checkout, save 22%. And I'll check that out and see what we got going on here. So let's go ahead and get this throttle cable disconnected. Looks like a 1/2 inch or a 7/16. What do I have down here? That's a 10. That's not a 10, that's for sure. Now remember, some of this stuff can be metric, some of this stuff can be standard. Oh, here we go, playing this game. Oh, I grabbed a 7/16. I meant to grab a 1/2 inch. Let's see if we can break that loose. There we go. All right, so let's grab throttle cable, work it out. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this bad boy all the way out. The O-ring, of course, is shot. Not a big deal. Let's see if we got a throttle. Yeah, so we got play up in the throttle. It's just all that butterfly. So that all works. That's good. You see the butterfly in here is completely stuck. Let me see if I got a flashlight in my pocket. I did, but I think I took it out. This flashlight's dead. Golly. All right, anyways, so if you look down in here, you can just see how bad that is. So we're gonna mark that TPS right here on that little dot where it lines up with that indentation. Take that out, IEC motor out. There's nothing else in here, and I'll soak this in my chem dip. I'm gonna heat it up a little bit out there, probably 20 or 30 degrees Celsius, and put it in there for about an hour and see if it loosens all this stuff up. We'll lube it up, we'll do all that good stuff. See if that cures that. I can't see in the intake from up here. Intake looks a little funky. I'll pull the map sensor out. Let's see what I do with that 8. I think I left it over here. We'll pull that out. We'll hit that with some mass airflow sensor cleaner. That way that's all super clean. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and we'll grab a center punch and mark this. So let's grab my center punch. I'll line it up right here in the middle of that. And then I will just let it do its own thing. Now, I don't know if you probably can't see that, but there's a little punch mark there. Grab my Phillips head screwdriver. I still use, this one still has JIS screws in it. So we'll grab this, we'll pull a TPS off. These Harbor Freight magnetic bowls, man, you can't beat it when they go on sale for a couple bucks a piece. All right, don't forget to take the O-ring out. Don't want that to expand when that chem dip. TPS, IEC motor. Our idle speed controller, depends on what manufacturer you're working with. Idle air control, idle speed control. Basically opens and closes to let more air in and out. Basically leans out or enriches your system. Those 3. IEC motor. I heard this operating, so I'm not worried about that being bad. So now what I'll do, wow, look at that passage. Look at that IEC passage. This thing will never operate right. Again, almost forgot this O-ring from the side cover. I'm gonna walk outside. My Berryman's is outside because it stinks so much in my sonic cleaner. It's outside underneath a tote that I covered up with all the time. Gonna go ahead and put this in there, heat that Berryman's up a little bit. Now that stuff is very flammable, so don't superheat it or anything, guys. You can cause a fire. So we're gonna heat that up a little bit. I'm not gonna mess with the idle stop screw or anything like that. But I'm gonna put this in there out there, pull the map sensor out. We'll take a look at that together. And then I can also blow out the intake a little bit, and then we can check the fuel injector. to make sure that it's actually spraying. I don't mind turning the motor over with everything out and see if it's spraying. We'll check the spark plug, we'll blow all that out, put a new spark plug in this thing, and see if the thing actually knocks or not. All right, so we got the mass airflow sensor out. If you guys look, you can see it's pretty darn dirty. I do have mass airflow sensor spray and cleaner. So what I'll do, a CRC's mass airflow sensor cleaner. I'll just go ahead and spray it across this guy here, put a little grease back on that. I might take this intake off, that way I can look down the intake boot. That way I can look down into the intake tract itself and check out the valves. Let's set this to the side. Let's go ahead and pull this injector out real quick. Actually, let me grab air hose, spray this all out. We will pull the spark plug out, drop a little oil down in the cylinder. That way it's all cleaned out. We'll pull this intake track off. Before we pull that out, we'll take a look at everything. All right, again, I'm using my Stanley rotary ratchet, man. I love this little thing. You can just go back and forth, man. It's amazing for odd angle stuff like this. I could use my impact, but woo, that guy is pretty tight. I mean, it has probably never been off this head ever in its lifetime, which is expected. But once you get him so far, you just twist this bad boy back and forth and comes right out. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I need to get a 3/8 one yet. Ooh, that's pretty nasty. It's easier if I use my right hand for this. There we go. The inside of this guy is not too horrible, but inside the intake, grab a flashlight, look down in there real quick. Ooh, it definitely had water in there, but the valves are closed. So I'm going to spray, let's see here, let me get you off the stand. If you can see in here, I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm trying to find you an angle, but you can see all the junk down the bottom. So I'm gonna spray some brake clean in there and then use my pneumatic brake bleeder and suck out all that garbage that's down inside there. That really sucks. And then we'll clean this surface. We'll check the injector. We'll check the spark plug, pull it out, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, so I'm trying my other microphone. I accidentally threw it in a washing machine, yeah. But anyways, so I have the intake all cleaned out. For the most part, it's a little bit of rust on the valves. I have the injector hooked up now. Spark plug is out. I did put a little oil down in there, so let's turn this key on. Let's see if this injector sprays. Oh yeah. That injector's spraying really good, so we know we got good fuel pressure. That's a good thing. Fuel pump's working, you hear it prime. The injector spraying. I'm gonna put a little grease on this bad boy, put it back down in there. Spark plug, it's a little brown, but I do not have another one. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that a little bit. Just because I don't have a MR7F in stock. I have a crap ton of other ones I just bought, but not this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, reinstall this. I'm gonna put the intake back on. The map sensor's clean. I'll reseal this intake, put all this back together, and we'll wait for that throttle body to be cleaned up and see if it actually actuates. And then we'll go ahead, we'll double check the coolant level, make sure there's coolant in this thing. It does have fresh gas. So I'm gonna put all this back together and we'll go over this other stuff here in a minute. You know what, guys? I can tell I'm dropping everything off my specialty tool shelf. But let's go ahead and do I can tell it's got compression. Let's go ahead and just do a compression test anyways on this. I was gonna throw the spark plug back in there real quick, but I wanna do a compression test real quick. Let's just see what's going on. Let's see here. Put my adapter on here. Make sure that's the right size. I believe it is. All right, see if I can get this down in here and we'll do a compression test real quick just to see what kind of compression we're running. If I can get this thing going. it's a little cold in the shop. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt to get some of these rubber hoses to act how they should. All right, we're in there on that. Again, this compression tester is from Cornwall. Had it for years and years and years. All right, so here we go. Let's see what's going on. Key on. There's a little bit of oil down there. Let's see what we got. We're looking at about 50 PSI. Now, I believe this has a decompression mechanism on the cam. So we should be running, yeah, that's almost 60 PSI, so I think we're pretty good there. It doesn't sound bad. Now this thing could fire up and smoke like nobody's business. I don't know. But we're at 60 PSI. I'll have to double check to see if it has a compression release or not. I'll let you know here in a second about that. Intake's back on. I did use a little bit of gasket sealer just in case the O-ring doesn't want to seal right. Beautiful. I didn't lose my adapter. Sometimes this adapter gets stuck down in there. So we got that. Let's go ahead and put this away real quick. And then we'll go ahead and make sure we have spark. Grab this spark plug cap, slide this bad boy in there, and let's check it for spark real quick. I don't know if you guys can see that from where you're at. Beautiful spark. I mean, immaculate spark. Let's see if you can see. Spark is perfect and amazing. No complaints about that. So we'll drop this back in. I'll go ahead and hook the injector back up. I'll double check on a decompression mechanism to make sure it has one. And then see if I can't clean that throttle body. Get it reinstalled. Fire this thing up, I hope. And see if we got a knock or if it's smoking like nobody's business. All right, guys, so 45 minutes later, here we are, as clean as this thing's gonna get. I'm not gonna try, I mean, it's not dirt, that's just kind of etched in there. Here you go. Now the throttle, butterfly, open and closes, no problem. I will spray a little WD in there to make sure that's all good. So what I'll do, I'll assemble this back together off camera. We'll install it on here. The coolant was a little bit low. I need a new battery in this GoPro, but I'll put this back together, reinstall it off camera, and we'll see if this thing fires off in that first round. And by the way, this does have decompressions on it, so might be a little low. It says 60, but we'll find out when we turn this thing on, throw some gas to it, hit that button, see if it fires off. All right, guys, so we have the throttle body back installed on here. Fresh fuel, you guys saw what it looked like. We have throttle now. You guys are kind of back off the lift, kind of watch the exhaust. God knows what the thing's gonna sound like or if it even starts. So let's turn the key on. Fuel pump prime. Hear the IEC motor do its thing. Close. All right, well, it didn't work there. Let's prime it again. No check engine light this time. This motor sounds absolutely quiet. Now it's loud because of that intake's not on there, but there are no check engine lights. This is crazy, bro. Again, this was a free ATV from Facebook Marketplace when we picked up another ATV. This is crazy, man. Like, honestly, I can't believe it. I gotta check the charging system while it's sitting here idling. It's over here on the benchy I'm working on. Okay, there's a little bit of, maybe a little bit of smoke, but this thing hasn't ran in a long time. Let me check the charging system real quick on this. Charging at 14.4748 at idle. That is sick. That is sick. I'm gonna open up the shop door and we'll let this thing run for a little bit. I wanna make sure, like I said, this thing has sat outside for a long time. Now the fuel is good, but I wanna open that shop door to let some of these fumes out. Ugh. But holy smokes, that's insane, bro. Like literally insane. I'm gonna let it warm up. Make sure the fan kicks on. It's idling perfect. But I don't want to give it any gas. Man, the motor is absolutely quiet. I'm wondering if these guys got in some water and had a hydro locked or something. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna let it run for a while, see if it's barely got anything coming out of the back. Here, I'll walk you guys around here. Dude, I am crazy. It's the 15 Polaris 570 Sportsman EFI. I mean, we'll see if that clears up. I mean, that's not bad at all, honestly. We'll see if that clears up. It does need a plug in the tire, right rear. But I mean, that motor is quiet. Again, I don't have the airbox on here because it was full of water. That thing's all cleaned out. I mean, this thing's a little worse for wear, but dude, this thing would be a great quad in the woods or a beater or whatever you want to use it for. Now, if it goes into gear and works, that's a different story. But you see, no check engine light, blinking the time. Oh, now we got one. Falls on its face. When you give it gas, it does receive a check engine light. So let's see what that is real quick. Oop, I'm gonna fall. I gotta remember how to cycle through on this unit. 1250 RPMs. That spark plug could just be crappy. Check engine. 6049. All right, so let me take a look and see what check engine 6049 is. There it is. Check engine light just came on. 6049. And it went out. All right, so let me jump off. Let me look at my manual and see what 6049 is. I have no idea why I kept saying 649. The 649 was a mileage. I had to get to the check engine. So here's what I found. It was it had a 0, then 520194 with a 7 on the bottom. All right, so it was big 0, 520194 with a 7 at the bottom. Has something to do with the throttle housing and stuff, right? So I got to looking in here. Look what somebody did. Can you see this? I don't know if it focuses on it. They stuck a piece of paper or a piece of plastic in between the two connectors for the throttle to keep it from killing itself. Look at that. That's between there, throwing the code because it's not getting a reading. Now I'm going to put this thing back together, fire it up, see if that code's there, and see if it gives me the throttle response I was looking for. I would spit and sputter when I gave it the throttle. That was not reading the correct voltage, and it will throw that code. So now I'm going to put this back together, screw it all back together, and fire it back up and see if I get that code. All right, so it's all back together. You can see when you pull on it, it'll separate those two. But if your throttle gets stuck, you let go, it'll close off and kill the ignition. So they had that in there trying to keep it separated so it would fire off. So I had this all apart trying to look to see what a connector was inside there in case something was broken. So let's turn the key back on. Let's see if this thing will fire up now. All right, no code up there. There definitely is a mouse living in the clutch, so I'll have to pull that out, but no more code. Fires up, revs up, all because somebody stuck a piece of plastic between these two sensors. Remember, that's a 520194. It's not in your manual. That will have to do the voltage out of the throttle, so double check that. I fixed a lot of units and bought a few units that just had an issue with this and fixed them. So this thing is, I'm gonna call it done for the most part as far as mechanically. We're gonna go ahead and pull that side cover off down here for the clutch, and we're gonna check for the mouse inside there, and then the airbox is gonna get cleaned out. Air filter's gotta dry. We'll oil that up just a little bit, throw it back in here, put this thing back together, and we'll take it for the first test ride. Right now it's dark outside, so unfortunately it won't be tonight, so maybe tomorrow or on Monday, because today's Saturday. I wasn't even coming to the shop because I hurt my back and I decided I wanted to work on stuff. But we're gonna put this thing back together. We'll check that clutch cover and see what kind of critters we find living in there. All right, I'm grabbing a couple tools over here in my toolbox, and we're gonna take this side cover off, and we're gonna double check to see what all is going on behind that. Now I have to see what size these bolts are. Are these down here perfect? And I think it's a 7/16 on the back, if I'm not mistaken. And then I gotta cut all the zip ties holding this thing on. Let's make sure, yeah, 7/16 back there. So let's cut these zip ties here. I know, ooh, they're all dry rotted anyway, so good thing I'm cutting those off. Let's see, got one push pin here. We'll grab my tool, pull that out. You guys seen these and quite a few videos, linked below. Again, guys, check out emanualonline.com for all your service manual needs and use my discount code LimitlessPower22 at checkout to save 22%. I will link the service manual below. That way you have a direct link to it if you're after it. All right, I know there's some critters in there, or were some critters in there. Where did I put my impact gun now? There's my screw gun. Oh, impact gun's behind me. Man, I tell you, too many projects, too many tools. Let's get this step off of here. I mean, that could be belt fibers. I don't know, I never even tried to put it in gear because on my lift, but that could be belt fibers coming out of there. But I'm more thinking mouse than anything. Like I said, this thing lived outside for apparently years. Let's get this step off of here if we can. We'll get this guy off. It was blowing all types of what looks to be different styles of stuffing and wonderful things that a mouse has created a home in here. Yeah, mouse droppings all up in there. Get this back one off. I will have to cut this zip tie. And we will zip tie that back on later. I don't think there's anything else holding that on besides the boot back here. The worst part is when you open these up and the critters are still alive. Now, they could still be alive since I ran it. That primary and secondary clutch were spinning in there. If they are, well, good for them. If they're not, well, good for them. Mud dauber's nest. We'll knock that out real quick outside while I'm sitting here. All right, that's gone and out of there. That was a big one too, holy smokes. 7/16 socket for that, and I will need an extension. Or is that a 3/8? 3/8, 3/8, 3/8. That was gone and missing. There's one over here. All right, do we have any live critters? That is the question. Don't see any live critters, but you can definitely see there were critters in there. So probably once we started moving this thing out of where it was at, they probably scurried out. So it definitely needs a belt, which I may have one on my shelf. So I'll have to throw that on there. And then, yeah, I might just throw that belt on there, put this thing back together, and then fire it back up and take it for a ride tomorrow. So I'll clean these critters out, put this thing back together off camera, change the belt. I think I have one on my shelf. And see, yeah, because you can see where that mouse chewed that belt up right there. Look at all that, it's all gone. Using that for packing and everything. So I'm gonna clean this out, put a new belt in it, put it back together, and we'll take it for a test ride. All right, guys, so I turned the key on, and I have a check engine light again for that same code. You can see it blinking, check engine, same code, that 52194. It's the third time now it's registered. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna shut it back off, we're gonna pop the pins out, or the connector out of this guy here, if I can see what I'm doing here, since I'm half blind now. We'll pop this connector out, if I can. And we can just see how corroded and everything that is right here. So we're gonna go ahead and spray that out, spray this out, hit it with some compressed air, and then go ahead and double check to see if we get that same code. Now, if we do, there is a way to check the resistance, the resistance inside of here. Like I said, you could just, these are really, really dirty. Probably just need to clean that out and then clean this out, blow it out some compressed air after we hit it with some electrical and cleaner, and see if that clears our code up here on the dash. All right, so I got that all cleaned up. I did see a spider fly out of there, so let's plug this back in. There we go. Let's turn back over here to our dash. So hopefully you guys can see what's going on here from the weird angle you're at. Key on. No check engine light right now. The only time you'll be able to cycle the check engine button, I mean, you can cycle through it. Yeah, you guys are gonna vibrate a little bit. You're sitting on the part of the four-wheeler. is when you actually have a check engine light. So let's let this thing warm up. We'll pull it out of the shop and we'll take it for a ride and see if we get that check engine light back. All right, so let's hop on this thing. Hopefully the seat's not too wet. Actually, let me grab a towel. I'll grab a towel from underneath here. Ugh. And by the way, if you do get a Harbor Freight parts cleaner, best thing to do, put it on a roller. Man, it goes everywhere. My big one over here is stationary, but that Harbor Freight one I use to clean off a lot of the heavy debris before I move it to my nice parts washer, and having it rolling it out is way, way better. All right, here we go. Let's see if this thing shifts. So we're in neutral. Right in the reverse, sit still. Okay, back to neutral. Low. High, no problems at all. All the way back to park. All right, revs right up. All right, into reverse. Didn't know it ran over a zip tie. I heard poop. Was worried for a second. All right. Hopefully this check engine light stays away. If not, we'll order up a new two-wheel drive. Oh, is it all-wheel drive? Let me back up a little bit more here and see if I can't get that out of four-wheel drive there. All-wheel drive. All right, right to high. Going to lose my paper towel with that flying around. All right. This thing runs phenomenal for what it is. Free. I think he said, I'll give you more backstory on it when we get back to the shop on the check engine light. I did talk to my customer that I do a lot of stuff for, and this basically he said he got this for free, but he gave the guy $100 to be nice because he bought another one. So here we go. No problems at all. Slow it right down. At all. Rear brake works. I did drop my phone apparently out of my pocket. Let's grab that off my bridge. Make sure it's not too damaged. Does it still work? Yep, still works. No problem. Okay, back in my pocket with that. Good thing it landed on the bridge and not down in the creek. That would have sucked. So we know high works great. My butt feels a little wet. Let's try low range. At all. So let's head back up to the shop, throw it back in high range, turn this thing back around. Great power, no issues there. Let's cycle back through to RPM range. There we go, showing 1200, and hammer. Driving this with one hand, gotta love it. And no check engine light. That's the best part. No check engine light back on, just dirty connections up there. Because this thing, like I said, sat outside for a very, very long time being abused. And back in park. Again, no check engine light. Boom! I get my butt sweat still anyways. I cannot believe that this thing fired right up with a little bit of work. I mean, throttle body was stuck, all that. So to give you some backstory on this a little bit better, I was talking to the guy I do. He buys and sells a lot of stuff. So he basically, what he does, he finds good deals, buys it, calls me up, says, hey, fix this. I fix it, and then he sells it. I make money, he makes money. So it's all in all a good deal. So the story is, he went to go buy another unit. And when he got there, the guy's like, hey, do you want this one? Because I thought I saw it on Facebook Marketplace for 300 bucks. I thought about it and I decided, nah, man, did I miss out. So my buddy Tyler went, bought the King Quad from, it's a company that does fiber optics, and they use this to pull. And when things run crappy, they just park them. So basically, he bought the King Quad, and the guy's like, hey, you want that one? I'll give it to you for free. He's like, I'll give you 100 bucks for it. The guy's like, all right. So it's been sitting out here in my yard for 6 months. And well, you guys saw everything going on with it. $100 quad can be a really nice quad with a seat cover, fix that right rear tire that's going flat, and throw the left side plastic on it and the front on it, the front rack. I think it would be a really nice quad. Runs phenomenal, not a single issue with the motor, no smoking. You saw that basically what we had, we checked compression, spark plug, we checked out the fuel injector, make sure it was squirting, drained the fuel, put new in it. Throttle body was stuck, so we cleaned that all up, let that soak in my chem dip, and my sonic cleaner heated up, and freed that up, cleaned that up really nice. The airbox was full of water. Now the intake valves did have a little bit of rust on them, so I sprayed all that out, cleaned all that out, because it was on the compression stroke when I did that, so the intake valves were closed. Cleaned all that up, sucked it all out with my pneumatic brake bleeder, and man, had that code, cleaned those pins, boom, free quad. I'm gonna call it free, pretty much. You know, $100 quad. That's probably worth a couple $1,000 sitting there right now. Runs great, no motor noise, oil was clean, new belt, clutches look good. I can't believe it, man. That's freaking awesome. Again, guys, check out emmanuelonline.com and use my discount code LimitlessPower22 at checkout to save 22%. I'll leave a link below for the service manual for this one. As always, I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. If I've helped you guys out, drop some comments below. Hit up my Facebook page, Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair. Leave some reviews for me. I appreciate it. Let's see what else I got going on. Yeah, man, if you need to get a hold of me, you can drop some comments here. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can also hit me up at Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair on Facebook, or you can find me on TikTok at Limitless Power Sports Sir and Rep. You can also email me at limitlesspowersports78@gmail.com. Again, if anybody's interested in hats or shirts, I got a big logo the same on the back. Let me know. Shirts are $25 shipped. Hats are $30 shipped. Guys, I appreciate it. It will help out the channel a lot. And again, man, if you have the sub, do so. I'd appreciate it. Guys, I appreciate everything as always, and I will catch you on my next upload.